Hello, everyone. Today I'm going to be talking to you all about the power that we have to overcome our fears. We all know fear. It's what stopped us from pursuing that opportunity that we wanted, for standing up for ourselves, and from believing in ourselves. I'm sure we've all seen that one person that just takes action despite the fear, no matter what the moment is. They just do it, and it's incredible to watch. We all wish we could be like that, and the truth is, we can all be like that. Today, I'm going to be explaining to you how you can break through that fear barrier and how you can start becoming your real courageous self. Personally, I still have my fair share of fears, a lot less than before, but still fair amount. I used to live super limited by my fears, and it's funny because I actually got the inspiration to write about this and to talk about this because the other day my ex followed me on Instagram, and that was like 4 years ago was the last time we had talked, and just my immediate reaction was like, wow, the person that I was then compared to now, just completely different as far as the way, honestly everything, but specifically relating to this, the way that I deal with fear. I know I used to be a super fearful person, and yeah, it was refreshing to think about that and just admire how far I've came. So for me, I didn't start to overcome my fears until I just became absolutely fed up with how boring my life was. I wasn't taking chances, I wasn't taking risks, I wasn't doing things that took me out of my comfort zone. So I was safe, but it wasn't really a life that I valued because I was just so damn bored. Um, but I made the decision I was going to start going to the gym by myself. I got into much better shape and I improved my diet and my sleep schedule. Once I did this, I contacted my coach from who I had played for a year ago at college. I took a little break, got a little lost, but I let him know, like, hey, I got my stuff together. Would you mind giving me a second chance? Luckily, he did, and my life has just been uphill since then. The truth is that fear really is just a feeling, and we have to learn how to be comfortable with that feeling and still act despite the fact that we feel it. We will survive regardless of how it makes us feel or whatever it makes us react to, right? But the goal is we just want to overcome it, learn how to exist with it. And luckily, I have a 5 practical step plan that you can start using today in order to start overcoming your fears. Before we get into the plan, though, we just want to talk about what is fear. So, really, if you think about it, originally we got fear because we needed to have fear when there was a lion, or fear of famine, or fear of another human being murdering us, right? Like, it really came down to life or death situations, and that was when we didn't have society like we have today. Today, we live under the safest conditions ever, and while there still may be some real threats, usually we're conflicting the two between our original fears and then now we have the modern day fears of like bills, social interactions, things that are minor in comparison to being eaten alive by a tiger, right? So to be completely just disclaimer here, some fears are rational, reasonable, rational, and honestly, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh no, do everything, but like some fears are actually safe for us. Fears are literally there to be like, keep us alive. So, don't do something just for the sake of doing it because it's a fear. Some things are rational. Don't do anything stupid. So, to start with overcoming fear, I read a really great short story the other day, and it was about this young warrior facing her fears, and it was fear itself. And when they had a conversation at the end, fear said to her, if you don't do what I tell you, I have no power. You can listen to me and you can have respect for me. You can even be convinced by me. But if you don't do what I say, I have no power. We have the ability to choose how we respond to fear, and it is on us as the individuals to make the decision to no longer act based on our fears. This obviously takes some getting used to, but once you start to change your perspective in your relationship with fear, it's just you realize it was an extra weight you were carrying around. And luckily, I have this 5 step guide to help you take that weight off your back. So we want to start out making a list and journaling. I talk about it all the time, journal everything. I just think it's really great for you to be able to take everything that's going on up here, can get a little messy. You put it all down on the paper to where you can see it, and then you can start to add on to it and really understand. We want to understand some questions like what are our biggest fears or just fears in general? Start listing them. Why do we have them? We want to think about the origins, how it's keeping us safe. And we also want to think about how is it affecting our life? For like if we had a problem with social interactions, maybe we're not having good relationships or having good experiences because we're too afraid to put ourselves in that situation. Those are just the basic questions you want to ask yourself, and you want to start to become mindful of this. This leads to mindset number two. And now that we have our fears identified, we understand them, and now we have the little bit more power over them. And we want to realize that what I told you, that excerpt from that warrior story, is true. Fear only has power if we allow it to. It's always going to be there, but the point is we want to learn how to be comfortable with it and not let it influence our behaviors. You're going to have to start to become mindful, and sometimes triggers are just going to automatically happen and you're just going to react, right? But as you start to become more mindful, you're able to, okay, I'm feeling fear. You accept the fact that you're feeling fear in the moment, and then you're able to decide how you want to act, and it won't just be purely based off the fear. And the key thing to keep in mind is it will be uncomfortable, but the more that you do it, the easier it gets, and it's worthwhile to keep doing it. The third step is progressive overload, which is basically exposure therapy. Progressive overload is where you train, and as you go, you're continuously increasing the weights, which is also continuously increasing and pushing your limits. So you don't want to just go over there and start going crazy and completely wear yourself out. You want to progressively do it so that way you're able to continue pushing your limits, and you're not burning yourself out. So the point of this is you're showing yourself you're capable of conquering the fear, you're capable of changing your perspective with it, and you're also just getting used to the feeling of the fear. A practical example would be like, say you had social anxiety. You want to start progressively increasing your amount of social interaction. So maybe you don't go out too much, or when you do, you don't interact with anyone. You want to start, okay, when you go to the store, you want to nod at people, and then maybe next time you'll add a smile. So now you're nodding and smiling. And then maybe you'll add a hello or a little wave, and just so on and so forth. Then you build up to small talk, and then actually initiating conversations, and then as you go, everything under it is like, wow, that's really easy now. And you continuously push how much you can handle with regards to really anything, but specifically with the fears. This process just, it really allows us to be comfortable with it over time. You're going to build up your muscle of, in that case, social anxiety. You'll build up your social muscles and it'll just become much easier over time. You'll forget you have the fear, hopefully. The fourth thing is you want to seek knowledge and support. Knowledge is power, and we're always better off handling things if we have the support of others. With the internet, there's just an endless amount of information. You can find YouTube videos, books, articles, various perspectives on probably the same exact problem you're having, and other people are going to have insights, how they overcame it, many years of knowledge on dealing with whatever it is you want to know about. So seek these people, take whatever they did, try implementing certain things, find out what works best for you. And as far as support, fear can be isolating. It can make us like retract inwards rather than going outwards, right? So if we have close friends, family, and we're able to talk to them about these things, they might be able to help us. For example, if you want to go to the gym but you're nervous to go by yourself, you could tell a friend or a family member and be like, "Hey, I'm kind of struggling going to the gym by myself. I really want to start going though. Would you mind going with me for like a week or two?" And then at the end of the 2 weeks, hopefully you've become comfortable in the gym and you're able to start going by yourself. That's the power of support. So make sure you seek that out. And the final step is being patient and positive. Throughout this process, it might feel a little beneath you, because you got to remember a lot of these things came from when we were children, and we've been just living that way with those automatic reactions to whatever our fears are for a long time. So it's going to take a lot of work to undo all of that. And we just have to keep in mind that when our ego is like, oh, you're above this, this is stupid, you just got to remember, nope, I don't want to have this fear anymore. So this is what I need to do. So that way I'm able to overcome this and start living a better life, right? Uh, For my personal example, one of my earliest memories was me being bitten by a spider, and for the longest time, I was embarrassingly nervous of spiders. I remember this one time I was in the car with my friends, and it was dark at night, and we were driving, and like the little lights as you're driving, they flash through the car, the street lights, and I see just a silhouette of a spider dash across the dashboard. I freaked out. I literally was like in the car like this the whole time. I'm 19 years old with my boys, so bottom line is I had to progressively get over my fear of spiders by like looking at pictures online, and then I would start to get like if I would see them in my room or whatever, as long as they were like small enough, I'd have to handle them, and eventually I got to where I could just kill them with my hands, right? So you just want to stay, because I could have been in that situation like, oh no, I'm better than that, like I don't want to have to look at pictures of spiders, like that's weird. But I mean, it might be a little weird, but the truth is it helped me get over my fear, and now I'm able to step up to the plate, and if I see one, just whack it. I want you to be able to do the same with your fears, and I think that if you follow these 5 steps, you're going to have absolutely no problem doing that. Today we talked about my 5 step progress, my process for getting you through your fears, conquering it, and just feeling much better, much more confident. Uh, I've shared with you my personal journey. These things have worked for me, and I know you all want to do better with your fears and be that courageous person. So follow the steps, take it one step at a time. Make sure you're patient with yourself, and just stick with the process, trust the process. I appreciate y'all checking in with me today, sticking around for the explanation. I really do hope you found this information to be valuable and helpful. Best of luck to you implementing into your life. And as always, make sure to check out the blog if you enjoy reading. It's the exact same information I cover on here, just written down. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, everybody.